Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Time to go diving. So my name is Matt Myers with Flippers Diving, owner of Flippers Diving here in Jacksonville, Florida. And today we're going to be doing something a little different on this dive. Dives today I'll be conducting in this video using a closed circuit rebreather. So a little different than what we might typically see in the diving offshore Jacksonville and St. Augustine. But that's what we're up to. So the main focus or the goal of the dives we conducted on this day, which was about a week ago, was to go out and scout for lobster. So this was about about 3-4 days before lobster mini season opened up here at the end of July. And so we're scouting for lobster spots since we were planning to go out a few days later. And then secondly was doing lionfish hunting on the rebreather, or CCR as we'll call it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. We were offshore St. Augustine, roughly about 120 to 140 foot of water, so a pretty good distance offshore. Roughly 40 to 50 miles was kind of the area that we were in. We hit a bunch of different spots. But this was one spot in particular. I think this was the first dive of the 4 that we did that day, scouting. And so I'm the diver that's pictured there. My dive buddy's running the camera, and I was the only one diving CCR today. But the purpose of diving on the rebreather really for me was to get prepared for an upcoming dive. So little sneak peek under the tent, in a couple weeks we're going to be doing a 200 foot deep lionfish harvest or hunting commercial dive offshore St. Augustine. So I know you hear this in all the YouTube videos, but man, subscribe to the channel because that's going to be a really sweet video when it comes out. We'll be filming the whole thing and getting some good footage. But when it comes to rebreathers, it's not something you throw on once or twice a year. It's something that you need to be diving regularly, maintain proficiency and awareness of how that machine is operating, and keep yourself safe. So a few days prior to this dive, went over to Jenny Springs and just kind of dusting off the rebreather a little bit. This particular rebreather that I'm on, this is the Dive Soft Liberty, and it's in the heavy configuration. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I hadn't dove it in at least 4 months. I've been diving my other rebreather and really just doing a lot of open circuit diving offshore. So wanted to get it wet, got in the water, did an hour or so at Jenny Springs, kind of got everything tweaked out, and then this was my first day offshore diving this unit. So my commitment to myself was to stay on the rebreather the whole month of August in preparation for this big dive coming up to do the deep lionfish harvesting. So we're on a ledge over here and scoping for lionfish. That's really my only focus on this dive, other than looking to see if we can count any lobster. But I guess maybe the first question is, like, why are we doing this on a rebreather? Why are we bringing all this big expensive equipment when we could pretty much accomplish the same dive on a single tank open circuit? Obviously, like I said, I'm preparing for a bigger dive, but there's a lot of benefits to diving a rebreather. So that unit that is on my back there, it has the capability of staying underwater for roughly 8 hours. Obviously, my dive today is not 8 hours long. So it's got scrubber material inside. And let's kind of talk just briefly about how a rebreather works. As you can see, I'm not making any bubbles. Every time I exhale, instead of the bubbles coming out of my mouth and out of the regulator and going up to the surface, they go back into that black canister that's on my back. And that canister is full of absorbent material, absorbs carbon dioxide. So it's essentially scrubbing or cleaning my exhaled gas. And then prior to that gas traveling back through the rebreather loop to the mouthpiece where I'm going to inhale it, we mix in just a little bit of oxygen, because our bodies consume oxygen. Even as we're sitting right here right now, we're inhaling 21% oxygen, we're exhaling, and we're not using all of it, but we are using some. So as you exhale, you're probably exhaling somewhere around 18-19%, using a little bit of oxygen. So the rebreather trickles in oxygen to match your metabolic rate. How fast are you consuming that? And that gas is just cleaned and scrubbed over and over again. So it's a way to be able to stay down a really long time. It doesn't change the rules of physics. You still have to deal with the decompression obligations, right? The no decompression limits. And if you're doing decompression diving, you're still going to run into those challenges that you have to deal with. But for those of you who are nitrox divers, a lot of you are planning your dives and picking your gas mix based on what you're diving. So let's say you say, I'm gonna dive 32% nitrox. That gives you a maximum operating depth around 115 feet. But if you go shallower, you're not really getting the benefit of the gas you chose. Well, here's the cool thing about a rebreather. That's a nitrox machine on the diver's back. So that machine is constantly adjusting and giving you the best possible mix to maximize the bottom time on every single dive, no matter what depth you're in. Now, I mentioned a couple minutes ago that I was in the heavy configuration. So this rebreather can be configured a number of different ways. When we call it a heavy, basically what we're doing is we're taking any bailout gas that we would carry, and bailout gas we need just in case something goes wrong with that rebreather. We've got to be able to bail out off of the rebreather and go back to traditional open circuit scuba. And you got to carry enough gas to get you from wherever you are safely back to the surface, including ascent and any decompression, safety stops, all that sort of stuff. So when you configure it in the heavy setup, like you're seeing here, I've taken that bailout that normally would be clipped off or hung on the side of the diver's body or kind of on the side and down. I've gotten it out of my way and strapped it on my back. So it does make the rebreather really heavy, just kind of ballpark guessing, but that thing probably weighs 80 to 100 pounds by itself. But it gives me a really clean profile. So I feel very similar to how you guys have seen me set up on my single tank dives, where I'm just wearing a harness and a back plate. Gives me room to work, right? I'm carrying Lionfish equipment and pole spear, and I'm operating the pole spear and harvesting the fish. And so it's a really, really clean way to dive, especially if you're not in an overhead environment. You're not worried about having this big, bulky machine on your back. It really works out pretty well. I've had a couple people ask me like, whoa, you can't hunt. You can't spearfish on a rebreather. That's illegal. It is actually not illegal to harvest lionfish. Many other species, you're not allowed to be spearfishing on a rebreather. But lionfish, it does specifically state in the Florida state laws or guidelines around harvesting lionfish. There is no bag limit, there's no season, there's no size limit, and it does not matter how you harvest the lionfish. Rebreather, free diving, scuba, hook and line, whatever, they just want you to harvest them. So really cool way to do it. And I've only done it a handful of times. I generally opt to do the open circuit thing. So why am I so into this lionfish stuff? Well, one, I am a commercial harvester, so pretty much everything I harvest gets sold to fish wholesalers, and they end up in restaurants and markets and other places. I do it because I love to help the environment there, clean these things off the reef, and at least put them to good use. I do eat a lot of lionfish myself, everything from, blackened fillets, deep fried, sushi, you name it. But one really other cool thing that's going on, it's actually in the 10th year of this program, is the Florida Fish and Wildlife, what they call the Lionfish Challenge. And you can go check out this whole program. It's reefrangers.com or fwcreefrangers.com. It is a free program put on by the state, essentially to encourage divers, free divers, scuba divers, whoever, to go harvest lionfish and be incentivized to do so. So here's how it works. This program runs every year from May 24th through September 14th. So it's all summer long, and we're right in the middle of it right now. There's two categories. There's a commercial division and there's a recreational division. So the majority of people compete in the recreational. If you're not selling your fish, you're just a normal recreational diver, you would sign up for the recreational division. You go out and go diving and you harvest lionfish. Really simple. When you harvest your fish, you cut the tails off the fish, you stick them in a Ziploc bag and freeze them, and then you take them to an FWC Reef Ranger checkpoint. And Flippers Diving here in Jacksonville, we happen to be one. We've been doing it for a number of years now. You take your tails into any of the checkpoints throughout the state. There's a form online that you'll print off and fill out and take in with your tails. There's your name and how many tails you got, where you harvest them, and you turn them into that checkpoint. The checkpoint stamps and authorizes your form. You then go upload it to the website, and as you start accumulating tails, you win prizes. Doesn't cost anything to do it. So I'll give you an example. I'm looking at the breakdown now. Tier 1, to get the first level prize, you only have to harvest 25 lionfish in the recreational category. If you happen to be doing the commercial category, it's 50 pounds of lionfish. But 25 fish gets you in the first category. You get a dry fit tournament shirt, and you get a 2025 challenge coin. Now the challenge coin's pretty cool. It's kind of not applicable at this point, but prior to lobster mini season, if you get the coin and you carry it with you during mini season, you get 1 extra lobster in your bag limit. So depending upon where you're hunting, 6 lobsters, 12 lobsters, whatever, you get to add 1 additional lobster for those 2 days of mini season. Then when you hit 75 fish, this particular year, they're giving out a pole spear, gloves, and a t-shirt. If you hit tier 3, that's 150 lionfish. You're getting a new zookeeper. You're getting heat packs and a dive knife. If you hit tier 4, which is 300 lionfish, you're getting an Akona Gregorian mesh roller travel bag. And then tier 5 this year is a Cressy Leonardo dive computer, and that's if you hit 600 fish. So I don't know if you've been counting, but just in this video, I've probably hit tier 1. Easily 25 fish. It is really not hard to do, and it's a really, really cool program. So I encourage you guys to check it out. I'll put a link in the notes area on the video, so you can go to reefrangers.com. You can also jump on, check out flippersdiving.com. We've got all the lionfish equipment that you need. Really simple. We got lionfish lockers, and if you get on there soon, we're running a deal on them right now. So there's some promos going on. We got pole spears, we've got catch bags, we got everything you need. And what I love about lionfish hunting is you don't really need a whole lot, right? Probably the only thing you have to buy, and you could make it yourself, is a pole spear. You can make your own containers, 5-gallon buckets, water jugs, whatever, just something to stick those fish in so you're not going to get poked. But other than that, it's simple, it's cheap, and you take home some really delicious fish. So I've been rambling on for quite a while here, but as you can see, running the rebreather, focuses for me during this dive is kind of getting back in the saddle in terms of my buoyancy. Way different when you're on a rebreather. For those of you guys who are experienced open circuit divers, you know that every time you exhale, if you're neutrally buoyant, you exhale, you start to sink. And if you inhale, you start to rise up and ascend, right? Well, on the rebreather, the breathing in and the breathing out, it doesn't change your buoyancy. So you really have to be paying a lot of attention to where you are. Are you ascending? Are you descending? And maintaining neutral buoyancy through the use of your BCD, which in this situation I have a double swing on. But also the amount of gas volume that's in your loop in the rebreather, what you're breathing. So I'm doing that. Also getting back familiar with the electronics. I'm a big Shearwater guy. My other rebreathers and my regular dive computer, it's all Shearwaters. This is DiveSoft. Rebreathers have their own electronics. They're very different. They're super robust. They can do a lot of stuff. There's so much information in there, but they're very different from Shearwater. So it's really a different platform. And for me, it just takes me a couple dives to kind of get back in the groove and totally understand everything that's going on with that computer and how to run it most efficiently and really do it the safest way possible. So I felt really great after this day of diving, just kind of getting totally back into it. And like I said, I'm gonna be on the rebreather for most of the month so that I can prepare for that big 200 footer coming up here in a couple weeks. Definitely welcome any questions you guys have. Throw them in the comments. I'll jump on and answer anything that you guys come up with, whether it's about rebreathers, lionfish hunting, diving offshore, St. Augustine, Jacksonville, any of that stuff. Kind of a weird day. It was really super blue and about the top 50 foot, from surface down to about 50 foot. It was really blue, really pretty, like you're seeing here. And on the bottom, it was kind of that green, weird haziness. So don't know what's going on there, but kind of it happens around here. my buddy passes off the spool and the SMB. One of the big reasons we do that is I have no bubbles other than when I'm venting a little bit of gas. So normally the boat on the surface, we're not anchored, we're live boating, and they are watching to see where are the bubbles, where are these divers going. Well, if you're diving a rebreather, you're not making a whole lot of bubbles. So especially on your ascent, you've got to use an SMB. And I know my buddy had cleared their safety stop before I did and wanted to go to the surface, and they passed off the SMB so that the boat would still have a clue where I was in. Good thing is the whole dive, my buddy's open circuit, I'm on the rebreather, so they knew where we were at. But if I'm by myself, not making any bubbles, I could be anywhere, right? Kind of stealthy, but also kind of scary. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the videos. Please jump on, subscribe to the channel. And when you get a chance, go to flippersdiving.com. We sell all kinds of new dive equipment, fantastic. And I dive, everything I dive, I sell through my shop. But we also do tons of pre-owned equipment as well. Stuff that's been recertified, inspected, rebuilt, hydro tested, whatever it needs so that it's safe to get back in the water, save you guys a bunch of money, and give that gear some new life. So whether you're looking for used gear or you're ready to upgrade to something new, beautiful and shiny, and you want to sell off some old gear, jump on the website. You can contact us through there. We buy gear every single day. Whether you want to trade it in towards something else or you just want to walk away with cash, we're happy to work with you guys. So hit us up. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll let you wrap up the last little bit of this video, and hopefully I'll catch you guys here in a couple weeks. You'll be watching this 200-foot deep lionfish hunt. Thanks guys, have a great one. Dive safe.